All right, so we're going to use our calculator to figure out some ratios. So tan of 0 degrees is 0. Tan of 1 degree, so I'm just plugging these into my calculator, to 4 decimals would be 0 point, or decimal places, would be 0.0175 if I round up. Tan of 5 degrees is 0.0875. 15 is 0.2679. And by the way, you used to, even before my time, which is a long time ago, there used to be tables. So students would go to write exams and they would have a big book which had all these ratios in it when they didn't have calculators. So you would look up tan of 15 and you would find this number in your book. So calculators are a beautiful thing. They make this really easy. Next one here, 0.4040. And then 10, 31.4, 0.6104. 10 of 45 is 1. Okay, and if you want to think about what that means, maybe I'll just show you that one. So you've got a right triangle. This is not a 45 degree. Let me do a little better than that. Okay, something like this, where you've got a right angle. This is 45 degrees. This triangle, you'll have your adjacent and opposite sides will be the same side length. So you end up with a ratio of 1/1. And that's why you get a tan ratio of 1. Okay, tan of 50.92 gives us 1.2314. And tan of 64 gives us 2.0503. So hopefully that gets you comfortable punching these into your calculator. Okay, this says to measure the legs of the triangle to find the following. Now I'm going to do this on my tablet, so hopefully it's similar to your printed copy. And then I would say what we should do is let's use our calculators after and compare the answers. So I get 5.1 centimeters here. And 2.5 centimeters. The 25 degrees is my target angle, which means 2.5 is the opposite side and 5.1 is going to be the adjacent. And so tan is opposite over adjacent, always, which is 2.5 over 5.1. And so I get a ratio of, or a decimal of, round to 1 decimal place it says, so 0.5. And now, out of curiosity, if I do tan of 25 on my calculator, what do I get? It rounds also to 0.5, so similar. Now we're doing tan of 65. So you just have to be careful. Remember that the adjacent and opposite, they're defined based on your angle of interest. So we have a new angle of interest, which is 65 degrees. That means the 5.1 is now our opposite side and the 2.5 is our adjacent. Okay, so again, the tan is opposite over adjacent. But this time, that's going to be 5.1 over 2.5. And let me write that a little nicer. There we go. Okay, and what does that give us? So rounded to 1 decimal place, I get 2.0. And just out of curiosity, if I do tan of 65 on my calculator, I get 2.1. So very similar. All right, let's do some more, kind of working our way up to angles close to 90 degrees. So tan of 88 is 28.2 3 decimal places it says, so 636. Tan of 89 is 57.290, rounded to 3 decimal places. 89.9 is 572.957. So hopefully you're noticing these are getting bigger and bigger. Tan of 89.99 is 5,729.579. No, 578, sorry, 578. Okay, and these numbers are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And if you think about why, if you've got a really large angle, so this angle here, let's say that's our target angle, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. The bigger it gets, the smaller this adjacent side is going to get, and the bigger the opposite side is going to get. So opposite over adjacent is going to get to be a really big number because you're going to have a big opposite side divided by a really small adjacent side. Now, what about tan of 90 degrees itself? Doesn't work. We would call that undefined. You cannot provide a measurement for the ratio of the tan of 90 degrees. Now, think about why that might be. So, if we have like 89.999, like you've got some huge angle like this, right? So this is your hypotenuse here. Your opposite is huge and your adjacent is really small. Well, what happens if you make that 90 degrees exactly? You would actually not have a triangle anymore. So down here, this picture kind of shows you that. So, you can have 89.99, something like this, and it's going to lead off and eventually it's going to meet with this line here and you'll have yourself a triangle. But if you do 90 degrees itself, it won't be a triangle. So why is it undefined? It would no longer be a triangle.